That'd be a good thing to mention.
That we're go for launch?
That we're go for launch.
Okay.
Shut the front door if you can find it, but I don't really know where it is.
All right. Welcome to another episode of Artsy AF podcast. Thank you for being here. Just want to shout out real quick. Still got some glitched out Artsy AF t-shirts.
Glitch.
Glitch. You can find those at motif.com/artsyaf. I will include that link in the description. And I'd like to thank our sponsor for today. Guys, we have big news. Aaron and I just
I'll
started.
let you tell him.
Yeah. Okay. We just started a sitcom, so Hollywood is actually sponsoring this episode. So that's pretty cool. And of course, last but not least, introducing Aaron Holsapple, our esteemed guest today. He goes by Cualli, and he makes really, really dope music. How you doing, Aaron?
I'm doing great.
Should we show people the intro to our sitcom?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Roll it. RTAF.
Come on, man. Just have me on the podcast.
I don't know, man. I was listening to your new album, and there weren't really that many bangers.
You didn't like any of the songs?
Well, there was one song. Wow. That's pretty cool, huh?
Wow. Did
You,
we
did
do
you ever
that?
think that like music would eventually land you a sitcom?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought.
I mean, that's what yeah, that's what I've been going for. So, everything that I want happens, and that's what I wanted. So,
yeah. Yeah. You're a real manifester.
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Thank you.
You're welcome,
Hmm.
I suppose. Yo, thanks for being here, man. For real. I'm glad to have you on.
Yeah, glad to be here, man.
Even you begged and begged for
Yeah,
me to
I
come
was a
on.
little
So it's-
offended that there was so much resistance at first, but
well, I think that's what Hollywood likes, It helps like a plot develop with characters, friction between characters, and
Hmm.
so here we are.
Hmm.
Thanks for coming on. And for real though, we need to talk about Tummy Fuzz. It's I think it's my favorite thing you put out.
thanks, man.
And I really love it. Like you took it in a whole new direction compared to like your earlier stuff, and kind of like the other music that's in the scene that we're both involved in. And I was just curious, what were the reasons for you going like a not necessarily a total 180, because it still sounds like Cualli to me, but
Yeah, and if
you
you've
took
been
it
on the, I think for a lot of people that have listened to my music for a while, it's not as much a surprise. But if you just hopped on board in the last like 3 years, then
Right.
it's gonna sound way different, you know.
So this album is kind of like a uplifting, funky, just good vibes kind of album.
Mm-hmm.
Very little sound design, which is kind of what the tip you'd been on for like the last, like you were saying,
Yeah,
3
last
years
3
or
years
so.
been pretty focused on sound design. Yep.
And so what were the reasons for changing the sound up?
Well, it was primarily because that's what I wanted to do, and that's
Right.
like kind of always why I'm making anything that I'm making is because I want to do it. And
Sure.
with music in general, it'll be like a try and find some kind of balance between exactly what I want to do and then what also I can what'll be like palatable for an audience or whatever. So if I'm writing music specifically for like dance on big speakers in a club or at a festival or something like that, then I need to write music that people will be able to dance to and that is going to work in that particular area. But it's also got to be. I have to figure out. There's always got to be some kind of balance of like it being what I want to do, and then also what will work in a given situation or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess other than it being what I wanted to do, more specifically, I guess the first thing would be COVID.
Mm-hmm.
So the lockdown happening and the entertainment industry just being completely shut down for a minute. So no shows on the horizon. I can do whatever I want to do
Right.
without I don't know. I mean, I feel like this album is actually maybe even more danceable than some of my other music as well.
Sure.
But it just I felt like I had the freedom to make whatever I wanted and be able to have more artistic liberty or artistic freedom to branch out a little bit.
Yeah.
So the COVID thing, I didn't have to write music that was going to necessarily go along with what I had been doing. And then I got a Fender Stratocaster.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a funky instrument right there.
Yeah, man. I love it. I got it because I needed a travel instrument.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing a Gibson semi-hollow electric guitar, and it's really a relatively fragile instrument, and the case for it is like just okay. So I always am nervous traveling with it.
Sure.
And
Sure.
sometimes if they don't the airlines won't let me have it in the cabin. It's just very stressful.
Yeah,
So
putting an instrument like that on an airplane
yeah, with the
in a
temperature
checked
change,
bag,
yeah, it's not.
pressure and temperature. And,
It's scary. So I got this Fender because I wanted an instrument that was cheaper and that it's a solid body guitar, so it's tougher. It's got a tougher case. So
mhm.
I needed a travel guitar for Envision and Israel earlier this year, which I'm so grateful I got to do that before this all happened.
Were those your last gigs?
Yep. Israel and then Costa Rica. And Israel was that was one of the coolest things that I've gotten to do with music. It was really, the people out there were really good to me and really very receptive and very psychedelically oriented audience there that was a real pleasure to play for. So I got the Fender for that, and then had been listening to a lot of Wolfpack at the time, and I was real inspired by Corey Wong and that rhythm guitar, funky kind of rhythm guitar, something that was always that I was always pretty good at. Like I was never as good at the shreddy soloing thing, but I rhythm guitar I was always pretty decent at. So I felt like that was kind of in my wheelhouse. And I don't know, just felt like making an album where it was just instruments, and it being the more funk kind of style was just that I guess that just happened sort of naturally.
So it was intentional or just kind of influenced by everything that was happening?
What do you mean intentional?
Like your pivot to this style.
Oh, well, so it wasn't something I thought a lot about, it was just I definitely, so I started, so even I guess a few other notes here was so I had this project called UU, and I guess if you had listened to me playing UU, then this would even be less of a surprise. Because UU was funky mid-tempo tunes with my friend Chris Cox, aka Omega, and so I was more or less playing funk guitar for that project. And we actually Mitch from Dance Safe, Mitchell Gomez, he was gonna bring us out to do a fundraiser. We had agreed to do a fundraiser as UU for Dance Safe.
Nice.
And that got canceled for COVID. But when that happened, I was like, all right, I'm gonna play some funk guitar again, or play some guitar again, and kind of started working on a tune, and it was and then COVID happened, so then that all got taken off the board, and I was still well, I want to still write some guitar tunes or whatever. So then I guess that was another aspect to how that happened. But it was just me wanting to do it.
Right. At the end of the day, you just wanted to make it happen.
Yeah, and I wrote a few songs. So I wrote 5-Star Rated was the first one.
Nice.
And then I think it was Slam Duck, and then Hot Lakes. Or as Bobby likes to say, Hot Licks.
Yeah. That's what it reminded me of, the title.
I was going for Hot Cakes.
Hot Cakes,
Yeah,
Hot Licks.
But then, Bobby's like, Hot Licks. You gotta call it Hot Licks.
Okay,
so I wrote those tunes because I wanted to do that, and then I was like, well, I just write a whole album in this sort of arena because I enjoyed doing this. So then that came out like that, and then I was like, okay, so here's this other thing. So Jakey, Blitzkrieg, was gonna have a glass show. He's a glass blower.
Yeah.
And he was having a glass show. I think it was in New York, but it got canceled because of COVID. And he's like, dude, we want you to or he's like, would you come be on my stream thing or whatever?
Yeah. I saw that.
and he had been talking about doing some like cheese and ass production, like video sort of stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
He's like, well, we want you to be the wizard, man. Like, you got to get the wizard costume, and so
I mean, but it's what you wear like every day. So
I didn't have to do anything, and
Right.
and I actually the day we were gonna film it, I'm pretty sure I got COVID, and I woke up with a sore throat that day.
Really?
Yeah, so I was like, I'm not gonna go. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying not to bail on you, but I just woke up sore throat, so I'm not gonna risk this. But I'm gonna get you this video. I'm gonna make you the stream. I'm gonna make this set.
Yeah.
So I filmed it myself with the green screen because I had a green screen around.
Yeah.
Because I had meant to do something with that at some point. I thought it seemed like fun.
Yeah.
And I knew that Patrick Boyle from Lost in Sound was going to be doing visual stuff, and we had done green screen things with him before, so I knew he could do that. And he was running the stream for Jakey, so I filmed it with the green screen, and so that began the whole like this style of video that I've been making for the
album.
Yeah, which ended up getting us this deal with Hollywood, which is just amazing.
I mean, wow. Yeah.
What do you say? You know, this is
there are no words.
Yeah, it's written in the stars.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, man. So thanks for letting me be involved with that.
Yeah, I mean,
we're out here in LA in our new podcast studio, so it's pretty cool. It's pretty sweet.
Out in the hills next to Chino or something.
Yeah. I think we're
gonna own a flat casino as well.
We're gonna at least own one of the letters in the Hollywood sign.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I want to get back to the album. Like, do you feel like using like analog instruments or like physical instruments is more of a like direct expression of like you as a musician, or compared to like getting on a computer and making some crazy sound that no one's ever, or trying to make a crazy sound that no one's ever heard before?
Yeah.
That's honestly kind of what I like about this, or what I really like about it, is that there's got to be some kind of like pressure, whether it's external or internal, to sort of fit in. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What do you mean?
Like, everybody's making sound design music where we're at in Denver, kind of just this psychedelic
Well, within
base.
our sure,
our small circle.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you did something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel like that's a more direct expression of like who you are? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you know, it's different than that stuff, but it's also well within the conversation of like more like funk music kind of stuff too.
Sure, yeah.
And I think like with the technology thing, you can always make that argument. Like, it makes me think about the like Pink Floyd used to get criticized for for like the people would say like, oh, you got all this gear, like the gear is running you guys, you know, like you guys are just a product of the gear, you're a product of the technology or whatever.
Yeah.
And like with the technology, it's always like your brain is interfacing with this technology that somebody else has created with their brain.
Yeah.
And it's like that's a collaboration, but when you're playing a guitar, it's also like your brain is collaborating with the technology of a guitar as well. So it's you know, it's there's an argument to be made on either side of that, I imagine.
Sure.
But for me personally, I don't know. There's definitely something to the brain on a guitar because specifically because it's not quantized like a piano or synthesizer is or something like that. It's you can bend the notes a little bit. Like it's got the frets that are quantized, but because your fingers are hitting the strings and like they can move a little bit, it's a very like tactile instrument, and you know, you can get a lot of soul out in a guitar, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess like too, music is just kind of pure mathematics at the end of the day. And so maybe you're, like sound design, is that more or less that way? Are you just kind of experimenting when you're
Well,
making
sound
sounds?
design, I mean, like if you want
Because I don't know anything about it.
sounds that sound really cool are still going to be uh based in general on that same mathematics that makes music cool.
Yeah.
So, and I guess like the more distorted and noisy things get, the sort of the less in that pattern of music that it becomes. And when I say pattern of music, we're talking harmonic series, which is
Okay.
that's the harmonic series is the foundational mathematics of music, and it's just this the way that sound works and the way that sounds appeal to us in a musical way. They go by this specific mathematical formula, and
Yeah.
and that's just something that we've discovered. That's just like a property of the universe, and
Right.
we've been making music and doing these specific intervals and things that are totally these mathematical relationships that are just there, and then we've been able to impose our sort of like understanding, like formulaic kind of thing on top of that
Yeah.
to get a greater understanding of it. But in essence, it's just the building blocks of the our shared reality, and why our meat suits interface with that kind of thing. The way that we interface with music and sound, and why some things sound more appealing than others.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe it's not necessarily like a more expression of like yourself, but more just tapped into that part of making music, like the
Yeah. The album is really like centered more around music. The Tummy Fuzz is definitely like just doing the instruments, and so it's mostly like Fender jazz bass guitar,
mm-hmm.
Moog synthesizer, Fender Stratocaster guitar, and Rhodes piano, as well as Wurlitzer piano. I don't have a real Wurlitzer piano, but I was using the like sampled instrument on the computer, and but just like not having so many options for sound design and stuff, it just made me. I was able to just think about the music more, like at least that's what I did with the album, is just focus more on the musical side of things and explore that. And yeah, I think that the music is it's a universal thing. Like it's just the way things are. Like the reason music sounds good is because it's these specific relationships, mathematical relationships, and it, like you can say that that's why it sounds good, is because it's this this perfect mathematical relationship. But it's like it's not exactly why it sounds good. It sounds good because our ears are designed a certain way, and our brain interprets that a certain way, and we find beauty in this mathematical perfection or whatever. And to reduce it to that is maybe a bit boring, but
but
in any case, the album is more musical than some of the more sound design kind of stuff that I've been doing recently.
yeah, I imagine, like, for me at least, who doesn't know very much about either of those things, like having a VST or whatever, and
A plugin.
a plugin, yeah.
So a VST is a type of plugin. So
Okay.
for VSTs and audio units and components are under the umbrella of a plugin.
Okay.
And a plugin is a different piece of software that you can use within your workstation software.
Uh-huh.
So even in video editing software, you can have a plugin where it's like a third-party piece of software that you can use within your workstation.
Yeah. Okay. Well, having something that could potentially make any sound ever, infinite, really infinite possibilities that we know of, I guess. That would move a lot of the pressure off of like me to try and like what new
Yeah,
sound
because there's
can I
already the infinite possibilities of music, and when you say
Right.
infinite, it's not really like the domain of the possible like musical combinations I'm going to come up with like is vast, but you know.
It's limited by like the technology, right?
Well, I don't know. As far as the music goes, it's limited more by my taste,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's limited more by the, what I think like is pleasing, what sounds good, you know.
Yeah.
Like dudes like Miles Davis and like the jazz cats really like opened up a lot of the possibilities for what can be musical, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because before that, things were a little more constrained on what we felt like sounded good. But then they really showed us that, you know, there's a lot more possibilities for things that actually sound good. It sounds different. Maybe
Yeah.
it doesn't sound good at first, but then you listen a little bit more and you're like, okay, wow.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then not having as many possibilities with taking out the X factor of these are my bass sounds. I'm using these
The
instruments.
jazz bass,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah, we're using these instruments and we're not going to. And that just opened up a lot of, I think possibility for just work more on the musical side of things.
Nice.
But I'll be able to bring what I've learned with this album back into sound design stuff too. It's like,
Right.
I'm not a purist either way. Like I'm not
Right.
just into digital music or just into analog
Right.
music.
And that's what I like about it is because I love your sound design music just as much as I love this. Although I think this one has more of like a kind of shoulder shimmy vibe to it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, the shoulder shimmy.
Little, it's just like uplifting and like kind of silly.
Yeah.
But
That was also part of like what I needed for like we're doing like the COVID lockdown or whatever. It's like need something
Need a
like
boost.
positive to work on here. Something that I feel is gonna be like uplifting for me and my community, and like making like heavy bangers did not seem like the move at that moment.
Yeah. So that's cool that you're able to kind of feel what's going on and
What's going on?
yeah, and change your creative output based on that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
That's always been
seems
like
appropriate, you know what I mean?
yeah, man, and I've kind of had to do that, and also I think like not achieving like a big level of like monetary financial success with my project has also helped that.
Yeah.
Because like once artists like really hit it big, and then you kind of like feel like most artists will continue to make that same sound for the rest of their lives and just beat a dead horse, you know?
Yeah.
And I've never really like had that. I've never really felt that pressure, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of my fans are just like will hop on board when they like it and will hop off if they don't like it. And the ones that have been around for a while understand that they might, you know, they're going to be getting something different from me
Right.
every time. So
That's cool. That's it. I mean, you could have that as your brand, really. Like David Bowie kind of did that, you know? Like
sure, yeah.
every album was a little bit different.
Yeah, well, and pop
But-
stars have to reinvent themselves, and he was kind of like the blueprint for that.
Mhm.
And then Madonna really like took that to the next level. But
Yeah.
pop stars now have to they have to do this thing, and a lot of like there's like a formula now to it now where they go like, specifically like for the female pop stars, they'll go through like a, you know, like the perfect angel phase into the like the bad girl phase into the the, you know, like post breakup, like strung out phase into the redemption phase, and then just repeat that kind of cycle.
Yeah. So which phase are you in right now? Are you in the strung out
man.
but happy phase?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. What phase am I in?
Such a dumb question. No, man, but this is all to say that like I really admire the fact that you sort of weren't just like beating a dead horse, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
You weren't just like doing the same thing over and over again. And I mean, this is a totally unique time in the history of the planet, as far as we know,
Mm-hmm.
or human history, I guess, as far as we know. And yeah, just to switch it up and try something new seems like intelligent to me. And there's a lot of heart in this album.
Yeah, well, and it just seems like it's got to be real, right? I
Right.
mean, everything's so different. It's like, why would you keep doing the same thing other than if there was like a big financial incentive for that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Which is totally understandable. If you're going to be able to continue making good money doing what you're doing before, then that's great.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like without shows happening,
Kind of freed you up in a way, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, much more studio time and not having to write music for the club specifically.
Yeah. Are you getting to spend more time with your son?
Am I going to? Or
No,
have I?
are you getting or have
Oh,
you been?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not having to travel anywhere, like,
Yeah.
definitely. Yeah, it's hard. It was hard having to leave for extended periods of time.
Yeah.
Come back and, like, he's a little
bit more grown
he's
or whatever.
different. Yeah,
Yeah.
it changes, like.
Yeah. Maybe so do you think that he had anything to do with you switching it up?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, we'd been listening to Wolfpack
Nice.
quite a bit, and he was like super into that, specifically Animal Spirits.
Mm-hmm.
That song in particular was like, I'd play the intro for that, and he just like perks up. I haven't played that in a while too. I'd like to play that for him now and see what his reaction is, because like, yeah, when he was really little, every time I play that intro, he's just like, oh boy, here we go.
Nice.
So yeah, that was, and just like having a little child around sort of makes you reassess the kind of things that you're putting out, because like they're like the darker, heavier kind of stuff is just not as appropriate for a child. They're just like, they don't relate
Sure.
to it as much, and it's like child's already just so like they're just happy or not getting what they need at the moment, but there's
Right.
not a lot of like existential dread. And
Right.
not that I feel like my music is about existential dread in general, but you know,
Right.
I definitely write some more like heavy, kind of darker stuff, and yeah, you know, even for me, it's relatively, it's not that dark, but I just felt like at that moment that was a good time to. And when you're writing music that's musical, it's just like that's just part of what goes along with it. I think is just that joy of expression and joy of feeling something beyond yourself.
Totally. You were talking about Wolfpack just now. I'm assuming they were pretty big influence on this
Yeah,
sound.
totally, and specifically Corey Wong, like rhythm guitarist for Wolfpack.
Mm-hmm. Were there anybody else? I really feel like the first song on this album has some like Lotus-y vibes.
Yeah,
to
man,
it.
definitely. Yeah, Nomad, the album Nomad by Lotus in particular. That was one of my favorite albums in high school.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, we had I had a subwoofer and we'd just get like stoned in my car, and we didn't drive anywhere, but we would listen
Right,
to
you
that.
just sat in the car.
Yeah,
Nice.
we really did mostly, but yeah, listening to that on the subwoofer and just like vibing out. but again, that album's got so much like major chord, like joyful kind of happy vibes to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that when I was making that song, I was definitely like, it wasn't like I'd gone into it thinking like, let's make a Nomaddy Lotusy kind of song. But
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
was making it, I was like, oh, this kind of sounds like a little bit of like, a little Nomad Mike Rempel kind of thing going on.
Totally.
And I was cool with that because I love that sound. So I was like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah. It's like if you land there, it's like a kind of cool coincidence, but
That's
Do
a
you-
pretty old album at this point too. Now,
it's like 2003,
yeah, man.
yeah.
We're
17 years ago.
that's amazing.
It's a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Anybody else? Anything else? Any other artists?
Yeah, well, I mean, in
or-
that arena, like Herbie Hancock has been a favorite of mine forever. Like
Ooh, yeah.
that Headhunters era. 1973 to 76, 77, 78 in there is just like, I love that. I love that groove. I love the sort of jazz sensibilities that he's bringing to it. Like, it's still musically, like he had been playing with Miles Davis before that, and like really like was able to get like way out there. And then he brought it back in for the Headhunters, like really, and that was his first commercial success was Headhunters.
Yeah.
And he was really like, he just hit a nerve with that one. It was just like, he really was able to take all of that knowledge and experience that he gained with Miles Davis and condense it into a package that was like danceable. It was really musically very interesting. It really like showcased like his playing abilities and brought it all into something that people could really understand and vibe with easily.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
for me, I just like Headhunters and Man-Child and Secrets,
Yeah.
just classics.
It's real, like, I wouldn't call it like heavy funk, but it's just like, that's what I think of when I think of funk is like Man-Child. It's a little more jazzy. And of course, like Parliament and like
Yeah,
James
you can't,
Brown.
Yeah, you can't
But,
have a
like-
conversation about funk without Parliament and James Brown too, for sure.
But
But I mean, musically, like, Herbie was walking circles around him.
right, for sure.
But rhythmically, it was James Brown that really like,
he kicked it off.
yeah.
Yeah. It's cool how like things are like you can trace derivations or derivatives like just all the way back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And like
yeah.
there's not technically any sort of like original ideas.
Right. No, but you can see things when new combinations of things like start to appear, and
Right.
then things that really, and that goes along with what I was talking about with the financial success thing too, because like once Parliament really like
Got in
hit
there.
a chord with that particular sound, and they're doing that sound,
Right.
So then you can see, and then that sound, then that's making hip hop. That was
Exactly.
like, you got Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, like they got nothing without
Right. Without-
Parliament Funkadelic.
yeah.
That was like,
Well,
for
all of
those-
hip hop really has nothing without funk, and I guess funk doesn't really have anything without soul and Motown,
mm-hmm.
and Motown without the blues and the big band jazz, and like you can just trace it all the way back, man. And
Yeah, but particularly when, I mean, you listen to, there are like Dr. Dre literally
Oh,
took
yeah.
the songs.
He like lifted it. Yeah,
like
for sure.
literally.
But yeah,
And it's all like shades of gray on taking things, taking ideas, getting
Right.
inspired or whatever. But that was like straight up, like just took the song and then,
and it
You know.
rapped over it.
yeah. So they made it their own thing. It's certainly a different sound
Right.
and everything,
Right.
but it's great. I don't know. It's really, I think, fun when you learn about hear those Parliament Funkadelic songs. Like if you had heard the Dr. Dre songs first or Snoop Dogg songs
yeah,
first.
and I'm
Like
sure a
if
lot
you
of kids that grew up in the 90s and early 2000s like
Yeah, you hear.
They're like, wait, this is a actual like.
Yeah, you hear Snoop Doggy Dogg, but you never heard Atomic Dog.
Right,
you
right,
know? And then you
right.
hear Atomic Dog, you're like, oh man,
Yeah,
this like springboarded his career. You know?
yeah. It's the same thing like with drum and bass and the amen break.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so cool. I think it's cool. Like, purists out there, the type of people who say that like Pink Floyd ain't shit because they use all these effects and like
Yeah, use
shit on Bob
electronic
Dylan
gear.
for like
Going electric.
going
yeah.
electric. Like, I think that's kind of silly. But yeah, all that stuff's like really interesting. Just to kind of trace everything back to its origins, and you can't really actually get at an origin point necessarily because you just keep going back and back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, turtles on top of turtles.
right, right.
Shoulders of giants standing on the shoulders of giants, standing on the shoulders of giants,
Yeah.
standing on the shoulders.
And the same thing goes for the like technology too. Like, I think maybe the unsung heroes of music are like people who write the code for the DAWs and like
Yeah, absolutely.
who-
I mean, and like all the as an artist, you get glorified and everything, but I mean, it's all just a big collaboration. Like
Right.
with all the guys making all the gear and the technology and everything. It's like you can't. We wouldn't be getting to this point where we're like glorifying this rock star without all the equipment to
exactly.
make it all happen too. You know.
Yeah, it's the same thing like if you were to eat a banana. Like
Collaborate with the palm tree.
well, I mean, it wasn't like you discovered bananas. You know what I mean? Like it was grown somewhere,
Yeah.
someone on, someone's land.
So
and
do you think that
someone had to pick it, they had to transport it,
Yeah, so do you think that technology and gear is like a property of I mean, what would you call as a plant like a property? It's a property of the earth or something, like a property of life, or so is like technology then like a property of life, an emergent property?
Yeah, that's what I would say. I mean, like, that's kind of how I look at it. And this is, again, not an original idea, but like, if it's an emergent phenomenon, obviously. Like, it could be evolution. A lot of people think that, like, what did McKenna say? He said, like, we're the sex organs for the AI or the robots.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about that, but I think that like I don't know. Now we're way off topic, but let's just go. Like I think that
Eat mushrooms.
yeah, I
McKenna
think
had some really like
out there things.
stuff. He had some great ideas, but some of it, you look back on it and it's
You're like that was wrong. But I do think that like I mean obviously technology is changing us.
Oh yeah, I mean, wow,
like,
holy shit,
to the core,
yeah.
to like our neurons, you know what I mean? Like, and so,
And it's really a lot of like what it is though is like just like putting like aspects of our consciousness and brains and whatever like on speed or something like that. Just
yeah,
like,
yeah. Well, that right now is kind of what it is. But I mean, hopefully, I mean, and we haven't even talked about like genetics either, like the field of genetics and how crazy that shit is.
oh
But
my
like,
God, yeah,
hopefully,
DNA.
we can kind of merge these things like AI and genetics and I don't know. I don't think that our like what is it 99% of species on Earth have lived and then gone extinct. So,
Yeah,
like,
right.
there's no real. I mean, not to get too dark, but there's no real reason to think that humans will live into perpetuity. But we might evolve into something else.
Look, man, I don't know if you've seen Star Trek, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah, I have.
we go. Oh.
Well, at least the next generation. I mean, we need to get rid of money, okay? Listen, no.
Isn't that a cool show though? Isn't that like it's such an optimistic like?
Yeah.
It's like the purpose of humanity will be to explore and to like
yeah.
to
Learn.
learn, go and like meet new meet new challenges
and life
and
forms.
do it together as like a community. And
Yeah, it's such a great. We need more fictions like that, or more like projections like that. It's like most of the stuff, a lot of the sci-fi stuff that you see is, uh, it it's not.
well, now we're trying to get it to people's brain stems, right? Like pretty
Oh,
much
with
most things are just trying to get to the core.
because they know you'll keep watching, and then therefore they'll generate more money and.
Yeah, and it's just this like race to the bottom,
Mhm.
with a lot of entertainment and art and things
That's
like
true. That's true.
that. Bottom of your brain stem.
Race to the bottom of your brainstem.
Yeah, but I mean, we got this, we got this human brain, so that's cool. We don't have to just wallow in the reptile brain all the time,
Yeah, yeah.
It's good to know that we got that reptile brain and kind of understand the our what would you say, like susceptibility to different things, different programming and whatever, but
Yeah.
at the same time it's a good thing to use that human brain, get that monkey brain.
Override the lizard brain.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, I'm sure we're sort of dancing around the topic, but like the documentary The Social Dilemma just talks about this a lot with in particularly like social media. And if you haven't seen it, watch it. Check it out.
It features our video.
Yeah.
It features our music
By the
video.
way, our music video has all those triggers in it that will just get you watching it over and over again and clicking like and
yeah,
and
it
share.
changes every time.
Changes your chemistry, changes your DNA.
It'll make you feel really outraged, and it's dividing everybody, very divisive. So.
You'll probably start a subreddit liking it and then a subreddit hating it. I mean, I don't even know where I stand, honestly. I think I'm,
You stand wherever the opposite is of where I'm standing.
Yeah, exactly. Because, Hollywood scripted our characters to sort of be in conflict.
You just said the quiet part loud again.
Did I? You need to be at F sharp. F sharp. You're at a G. Need you at an F sharp. So what was it
don't
like?
Don't break the 10th wall.
The 10th wall. Don't break the meta wall. Yeah. What was it like working with me? Do you have any notes?
What do you mean working with you?
Yeah, like
I'm not aware of.
This video that we made. Yeah.
Did we work together on that?
Oh, well, I directed it and you edited it and produced it and
I mean,
and I wrote
that's
it.
news to me.
I wrote it and
No, you did. To be fair, Andrew wrote most of it actually. The script, yeah, we worked together on it, but you wrote most of it. And
well, okay, let's be real for a second. This is how it all came about. I was smoking lots of weed and painting in my studio.
yeah.
And I was listening to Tummy Fuzz.
Yeah, and we were gonna make an intro.
We were gonna make some
The idea
sort of
initially
intro
was
to the
to
podcast.
make just an intro to the podcast.
But I called you up and I was like, dude, 5-star rated, sounds like the perfect intro music to our sitcom, because Hollywood had already hit us up at this point. And you kind of laughed and you were like, yeah, that'd be pretty funny. And I was like, and I had this kind of like flood of ideas, not all of them good.
Yeah, we were gonna make an intro, but then you just started being like, okay, so then, like,
at this point
2
in the
minutes
song,
in, it's going like this, and I'm like, okay, dude, the intro.
This is
not,
a full music
Yeah,
video.
yeah, we gotta make So what you want to do is make a full music video.
Right, yeah. So I had some creative direction from you. And then once we finally like met up and like talked about it, this is what I love about collaboration, because we spontaneously thought of a few things in the moment that like I don't think either of us would have thought of like on our own.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I can think of funny things or whatever, but like to have an audience, and even just an audience of one person,
Mm-hmm.
really helps this kind of like reflective projection
Yeah, and you
thing
get
like
that you get
happen.
that third. There's a third thing that happens
Right.
when different. You got more than one mind together. There's something else that starts happening that wouldn't happen otherwise.
Right. It's like a third thing that grows out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
So the third thing that grew out of that was this Hollywood smash hit.
yeah, that you all, if you're watching YouTube,
YouTube.
you saw it.
youtube.com.
YouTube. So if you're just listening to this podcast, which thank you for doing that, please check the show notes. I am putting a link to the full video, which includes the video that we're talking about in there, to give you a better, like, kind of,
A better
or
laugh.
any idea.
If you want a better laugh than
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you got out of this podcast so far, then
Yeah.
go watch that.
Yeah. I mean, I love that we're able to like laugh at ourselves. But I always get this feeling like if you're laughing at your ego or making fun of your ego, are you still just in the trap of like ego or selfhood? Because you're like, just because you're shitting on ego doesn't mean that like,
That means you're the shit for shitting on your ego.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. And so you're
Says
caught up in
turtles
this.
on top of turtles.
Yeah. So you're caught up in this this kind of like loop, You're like, oh, well, like I'm gonna do all these like funny, embarrassing things, and you've convinced yourself that it's funny, and so you're like, oh, I'm funny, and then you're just caught again.
Yeah, always caught. I think though too that maybe it's like our egos obviously will come and smack us in the face, but
Yeah.
a lot of the like mysticism, it's about transcending your ego, but it's also, to me, it's not like this like super heady thing of like, because people generally imagine that it's gonna look like when that happens it looks like the perfect person or something like that.
Right. And I do think that people take like that mysticism and themselves a little too seriously sometimes.
Yeah, because I think we even got because there's been mystical experience. Mystical experience in general has been about like just transcending your personal experience, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got Freud talking about the ego, which is this sort of like this like software or something like that goes on top of our brain hardware that like enables us to interface with
Each other,
the world around us,
Yeah.
or whatever, and because we're self-reflective, like, or we'll be able to, we can notice that we're doing things or whatever, then we can notice that we're either like really amazing and on top of the dominance hierarchy or whatever, like
Oh right, yeah, yeah.
we're the the top monkey or the bottom monkey, and
We
and
grew
then-
all our own bananas.
yeah, we can feel some kind of way about that or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But like, so like transcending ego after Freud getting wrapped up in sort of like new age spirituality or whatever, like it's kind of a weird thing, and it really like birthed a lot of like cult kind of things where like
yeah.
people would act like they were like they had transcended their egos and they're like perfect people.
Right.
But really, I think mystics in general, just like, you still just have an ego and you're still just like a normal person. It's just like a different kind of perspective
Yeah.
that happens,
It seems like those guys just kind of like move it off to the side or something.
No, it's just there. It's just like, it's just there's just I think a realization of interconnectedness, I guess.
Yeah.
But that really doesn't have anything to do with the ego on a mundane level. Like the ego is still just the way that your human self interfaces with the world, and that doesn't ever go away. It's just that a higher or like a more broad kind of software, something happens
Kicks
where you're
in.
able to get a better view kind of thing.
Yeah.
Be able to see like more interconnectedness, but then the ego is still there.
Right.
It's maybe like running into itself less, and like,
Yeah.
but even with the vantage point of seeing interconnectedness and stuff, like as a person, you can still want to do like person and human things, you know?
Yeah. Oh, for
which
sure.
like which
For
involves
sure. It doesn't have to be just like a.
it involves doing dumb things, you know?
Yeah.
And it like, and then you know, like when people are like pretending to be enlightened or whatever, then they'll like try and make it seem like they didn't do anything dumb. But I think people have
That's
like,
just another trap, though, right?
yeah, if people are truly enlightened, to just accept that that's part of what it's all about, is doing dumb things.
So
'Cause,
by
like,
that,
why
by
would
that metric, like I think that I'm enlightened. You know?
yes,
Yeah.
that's
All right. That's a great.
that's what I
place
was
to-
trying to say. We are the most enlightened
We're definitely the most
The most enlightened
people in this room.
toads that ever
Toads.
lived.
Oh, one thing I wanted to touch on before we started the podcast. You were talking about this cool thing. This is coming back around to sort of something that we had already talked about. That like, when you're driving in your car, right? We were talking about sound.
Yeah.
When you're driving in your car and one person rolls the window down to like whatever,
Yeah,
smoke a
screw
cigarette.
that person.
Yeah. By the way,
like your ears are starting
by
to hurt.
the way,
Yeah.
like, don't do that if you're thinking about it. And then it rattles everything, and you get this kind of like sound, and it feels like your ears are just getting pummeled. But that you said that that's the same thing or the same type of thing as like making those really cool sounds with beer bottles.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like kind of how Herbie Hancock did on
Yeah.
Watermelon Man.
Watermelon. Do, 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 do.
So, but then and then I said like,
Boom, 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 boom.
that's what I said. Then I said like, it would probably sound different if we were giants, you know, like it wouldn't sound like this like kind of bassy, like just air, like getting pushed into your ear. It would probably sound more high pitched. But I don't know if you
Yeah, no, I mean,
have any
and it's
thoughts on
all like the way that we hear is all very relative. So like,
right.
like where our hearing is at, like we're most sensitive to the range of like hearing like a baby cry,
Mm-hmm.
and like where our vocal range is at is like where
Right.
our hearing is most perceptive. And then as we start getting down lower into those lower frequencies, like because like when you open that window and get the bottle blowing in the bottle, or like the flute effect in your car, it's like such a low noise where it's like you almost feel it more as like a rhythm where it's like
Yeah, because the space is like bigger than our ear, right? Or is it?
no, it's not that it's bigger than our ear, it's just that the frequency is it's
Is low.
lower than, so our perceived, like we start losing perception of a note. So around like probably around like 30 hertz. It depends on who you ask, because like it's different for different people. Like where that crossover is to where like a bass note starts sounding more like a rhythm than a note
Yeah.
it varies for different people. But so like if you were like a giant, as you're saying, and had like a, you know, massive eardrum, but you'd have to be in a environment, I suppose, where like for that to sound like a note, you'd have to be in an environment where like being able to distinguish those low frequencies was advantageous for survival or whatever.
Right.
So like in nature we hear those notes as like the low rumble of a tiger growl or like thunder, earthquake.
Got it. So it's like all connected.
Like
You can't really take anything out of context, even though I thought that was a really cool thought experiment. Like if we were like giant humanoid things, like our nervous system would probably be set up a little bit differently, and maybe we wouldn't even hear the
babies crying.
car window opening or babies crying unless we yeah
Yeah, because I mean, like, dogs have a higher hearing register than we do. Like, the focus of their hearing is up higher. Like, dog whistles, we can't hear them, but
right
they're very perceptive to that.
yeah
So, it's really, I mean, that's just a very interesting thing, I think, to think about. Like, the way that we hear is not how things are, it's how
we are
our meat suits interpret it,
yeah
which yeah, I mean, that's a fascinating aspect of thinking about music and making music,
yeah
like taking that into account, like how we hear it.
Well, my meat suit really loves Tummy Fuzz, so thanks for making it.
Yeah, thanks, man.
So you want to do a visionary haiku?
Let's do it.
All right, give me a little
Do 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 do.
R.I.P. Alex Trebek.
Yeah, man.
You want to start off?
Sure.
I think you know the rules here. If you guys have been watching or listening recently, you know the rules. If this is your first time, visionary haiku, we have these cool visionary magnets, and they basically have a lot of
Resist.
hippie kind of new agey jargon buzzwords on there, right? Is that kind of how you would describe it?
Yeah.
And they're very
this?
special, near and dear to my heart.
This was designed by Few Texture. Is that right?
Yeah, I think he was a part of it. Let's see. We've got a copyright, Post Jaded. That's right. So, that's something worth talking about. Post Jaded is a great concept and a great limited liability corporation as well. Post Jaded, I think, if I remember correctly, kind of means like, if you look at the evolution of like liking something or being stoked about something,
Mm-hmm.
you kind of go through that neotenous phase or that young phase of like everything's amazing, and so like you can kind of put that in the context of, say, a festival or something like that. When we first went to festivals, everything was amazing, right? But then after a while, you get people who get a little bit jaded, and then everything sucks. But then I think post-jaded is perfect for these because you can also just sort of poke fun at the thing, but also enjoy it instead of just being like, heard this before, or like, this sucks, or,
Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
Grateful Dead, Grateful Dead, Grateful Dead.
Is that like a John Malkovich treatment? Ooh, resist, avocado. Oh, that's too much. Damn.
I was just thinking about how people like ever, when Jerry died, the band was over. People will be like, Pink Floyd was only psychedelic for Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and
right. It's like
You just
it's the Burning Man. It was always like
better
last year.
You form these opinions that are like really like you feel like define you as that's your personality. Is you're the kind of person that knows that the only Pink Floyd album that was psychedelic was Piper at the Gates of Dawn.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the dude who saw Fish in '87 who keeps reminding everybody that he saw Fish in '87.
Yeah, and everything since then is,
Just
not as cool because he was the one that was there before, and that was the
Exactly.
coolest part. So therefore,
yes.
that's it's funny how our personalities develop like that.
Resist not.
Ooh, resist not.
That's like a Yoda thing. Resist not.
Mm.
Here. I think I have one in my hand there. It's ology.
Ology. I am kind of going more like the Mad Lib style on this.
You're
I'm
just
like going
drawing
the
a random
random
one,
one.
see if it fits.
resist not. So we need a twofer.
Yeah.
See if I can find one like
I scratched myself,
find the right size.
bro. When I covered up for that sneeze, I just scratched myself.
Resist not macro. That's not really.
That doesn't.
Let's find something better.
You don't. Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I kind of cornered you.
Resist not spiral.
Resist not, young Spiral. I know this is everyone's favorite part of the show.
Of course I know him. He's me.
Let's see. Regenerate. Oh, here, let me pass the whole tray.
Man, you got all these ones that are still not even taken out. There's
Hey.
orgy. Regenerate orgy. We
Well,
saw that because
we still need one more. Regenerate orgy. We need one more syllable there.
it. Regenerate orgy it.
Orgy, regenerate, comma, orgy it.
How about as? Regenerate orgy as.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Other
Just
way.
trying to break up
There you
these
go.
other ones here so that you can.
Break them up and pack
We're
them
gonna
in
make sure they're all available.
my
all the
my
possibilities.
linguistic cosmic bowl of words that I'm going to smoke straight to the dome. You're breaking up these magnets, packing them in the bowl, and we're both smoking them.
Yep.
Let's see. Resist not spiral. Regenerate orgy as. Oh, this is kind of.
Do you know if dingus is a word in there?
It might be. There's quite a bit on my fridge, actually, still.
Yeah.
I don't think. I haven't seen dingus, because if I had, I would have remembered.
I feel like dingus is not like the kind of word that you like make fun of hippies for using. So
No, that's just. I mean, I really like the word dingus, but
yeah,
it's not for everyone.
thank God. Tribal lingam
Wow. Nail. Tribal ling.
for
We need one more.
it.
Don't put it. That's not gonna make any sense.
Tribal lingam flame. Twin flame.
You've got this. I believe in you.
Well, bless.
Re-
Tribal lingam bless.
sure.
Or bless tribal
Yeah,
lingam.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
Resist not spiral. Regenerate orgy as blessed tribal lingam.
The end. Well, Aaron, thank you so much
Thank you, Andrew.
for making an awesome album and being on the podcast and
Thanks, man.
making this video come to life. We really hope you guys like it. It was a labor of love. It took quite a long time,
Yeah,
especially for
long time.
Aaron, because he knows how to edit video and stuff. So let us know what you think. And Aaron, tell people where they can find you.
So my project is called Cualli, and you spell it Cualli, and wherever you listen to music or you find it there. And the album's called Tummy Fuzz, but I specifically request that people go check out the YouTube because I've been trying to get people to go there, and it's really hard. Most of my following is on SoundCloud and Facebook and Instagram, and they don't. These
They don't
social
like
media
YouTube.
websites don't like cross
Yeah.
promotion, so I can't really get people to just. Nobody wants to go to the YouTube, so that's where all the good video stuff's at.
That's where the fire is at.
Yeah, but if you want to listen to the music, Spotify or whatever, it's all up on there.
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp. Yep, we
You're
got the,
releasing a vinyl, right?
Yeah, the vinyl record.
Comes with the DVD box set.
Dude, it comes with the DVD box set. Wow.
You guys have DVD,
DVD
players,
box set.
right? They do. Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Who
So
wouldn't?
there's still more vinyl records available, and they're hopefully. So what is today? Like the
15th.
15th, yeah. So
No, 14th. 14th.
next
Anyway.
week I should have them. It's been like 3 months since that they've been in production, and seems like next week. So maybe before or after this podcast is released, but should be.
We'll try and
shipping-
time it up.
Should be shipping out soon.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Thank you guys for checking us out once again, and we will catch you next time. Peace.
Peace.